Watching the Big 12 now on ESPN+. We are in Morgantown, West Virginia, the WVU Coliseum. The Cincinnati Bearcats at 14-6, ready to take on the Mountaineers at 7-13. Eric Rothman and Tim Welsh here with you in Morgantown. Should be a great, hard-fought defensive battle. And the reason why, Coach, we had a couple big men to profile. First for West Virginia, they've got Jesse Edwards finally back in the lineup.
Well, Josh Eilert has been dealing with many issues this year, and this has been a major one. Jesse Edwards is a big-time inside presence for West Virginia. They needed him. He's exactly what they need. This is the first time West Virginia has really been whole all season long. Edwards is not 100% back yet, but he's going to give it a go tonight. His presence will be felt.
Battling a wrist injury, he's going to go up against Victor Locke, and one of the best big men in the Big 12 this season.
Well, Victor Locke, not only one of the best big men, one of the most improved big men, and a versatile big man. He can bring the ball to the court, he can make shots from the outside, a terrific passer, and a physical presence in the paint.
Cincinnati 3-4 in conference play this season, coming off a win against UCF at home. West Virginia 2-5 in conference play, but their wins have been impressive against Texas and Kansas, both here in Morgantown, as Edwards beats Aziz Bandaogo to the tip, and Mountaineers have the basketball in the white jerseys. And again, Coach mentioned it, but they've only had 4 guys, the Mountaineers, all season long that have played all 20 games. Only one of them is a top 5 scorer, as Edwards misses trying to go over Bandaogo, who is one of the best rim protectors in the country. We take a look at the starting 5 for Cincinnati. Day-Day Thomas in the backcourt with the ball right now. John Newman, maybe the best two-way player in the entire conference. He has gotten so much better. You talk about improvement even as the year has gone on.
Well, Newman and Dan Skilling's bailed UCF out, or excuse me, Cincinnati out against UCF. They were down big after the end of the first half, and they are a very good rebounding team and showing it early. West Virginia very concerned.
The shot clock violation. You mentioned the rebounding for Cincinnati. They're 7th in the nation under head coach Wes Miller with with rebounding margin. That's a +10 for Cincinnati on the season. Kerr Kriisa, the transfer from Arizona, in the backcourt for West Virginia, along with Kobe Johnson, Raekwon Battle, Quinn Slazinski, a great three-point shooter. And we mentioned Jesse Edwards returning. Should return in the last game against Oklahoma State, but only played about 15 minutes in that one. Go right back to Edwards, and he was coming into this season going to be the focal point of the offense. You see why right there.
Well, you give him that space right around the rim. He is a no-brainer. He'll finish a lot of plays. Now, the conditioning part is still an issue for him. Played 14 minutes against Oklahoma State, as you see Newman knock one down.
John Newman III, averaging 16 points per game over his last 4. Gives the Bearcats a 3-2 lead. Jesse Edwards, 4 years at Syracuse. We're coming over as the West Virginia Mountaineers turn the basketball over. 3-on-2 for the Bearcats, and that's Day-Day Thomas, junior college transfer in his first year in Division I.
Well, that's way too easy. Raekwon Battle never pushed up and put any pressure on the basketball. That's good transition by Cincinnati.
West Virginia offense has been a bit of an issue this season, only averaging 68 points per game. But as Coach mentioned in the open, just have not had a full squad, a full healthy squad nearly in the entire year. So another turnover on the Mountaineers. As Bandaogo is fouled by Raekwon Battle. There is Josh Eilert, his first season as the head coach. He is the interim head coach, taking over for Bob Huggins. Spent the last 16 seasons on Coach Huggins' staff as an assistant and elevated just before the year started. As Battle picks up his first foul, and it's been an unenviable position for Josh Eilert, but he has handled it with class, and his team has shown some exciting moments. And I mentioned the Kansas game with the fans rushing the court. And I know how good it felt for him to get a big win like that here at home.
Well, I like what he said about things. As you see, Wes Miller, obviously, just the team also on the rise this year, first year in this conference. But Josh has been saying the right things as far as we have 11 games now. We're finally whole, but we have something to play for. And This is tonight and Saturday, two big games, a big homestand here for West Virginia. They have BYU on Saturday.
Sloppy possession for Cincinnati. 3 minutes into this one. Bearcats on top 5-2. Here's Kerr Kriisa trying to draw a whistle, didn't get it. Nearly 80% of his points this year have come from the three-point line. As Bandego gets the alley-oop delivery from Day Thomas.
West Virginia never got matched up in transition. Edwards ran out to the wing, and no one recovered for him on the backside with Bandego.
West Virginia got the first bucket of the game. It's a 7-0 run for Cincinnati since. Edwards. Bandego gets the best of him. Now John Newman III. Fans wanted to travel. Instead, it's a Jesse Edwards block. Came over to help Raekwon Battle on the defensive assignment. Battle, quick pull-up. As Edwards saves it from going out of bounds, and that is a backcourt violation. 3 turnovers on West Virginia. As you see, Wes Miller, third season with Cincinnati. They're coming over from UNC Greensboro. He was a former player for North Carolina. Actually won a national championship back in 2005. And a defensive-minded coach, especially with this group. They are stingy on the boards. They are stingy defensively in general. Teams scoring just 67 points against them on average. Kobe Johnson running the other way for the Mountaineers, and it's Quinn Slazinski tips it back in on the offensive glass.
Well, the hardest thing when you implement a player like Jesse Edwards, who's been out of your lineup for so long, is everyone's role changes a little bit with Edwards in the line, and it's going to take some games for them to figure that out. Right now, early in the game, Battle has not been a factor. They're trying to go inside to Edwards.
Raekwon Battle after the Bearcat turnover. And 4 straight for West Virginia, pulls them within 1.
Fast-paced action, and Cincinnati will push the pace at times, and if you don't match up on Bandego, he makes it look really easy, and West Virginia has to do this. They don't want to play against the set defense of Cincinnati, and that's an easy one.
Just over 4.5 minutes into this one in Morgantown. Cincinnati on top 7-6 as we welcome you back to the WVU Coliseum. That's Tim Welsh. I'm Eric Rothman. Happy to be here with you. And Coach, we've already seen it here. 4.5 minutes. You see what the difference that Jesse Edwards makes, the dynamic he brings to this West Virginia offense.
On both ends of the floor, there's no doubt about it. He's a presence around the rim, a terrific rebounder out of his area. He's got length. He's got the ability to elevate in traffic and finish. The only issue right now with him is getting his timing back, getting his wind back, his conditioning, and also everyone else around him understanding that he is a factor. They have a guy they can throw the ball into down low, but they have to have balance as well. They have to make sure they still go through Raekwon Battle on the perimeter, but you know, he's so good at just finding his way to the rim, and still he has that right hand. It's pretty well taped, the wrist, but that was a good power move under control.
Well, they're going to need him because as of right now, Coach, we have not seen a Cook, the big 6'10" transfer from Georgetown, in the game. We thought he might be in the starting lineup. He's had some health issues this year. He had a heart condition that popped up earlier in the season, and because of that, you were talking to the coaching staff earlier, he's got to meet certain requirements to even be able to play each and every single game.
Correct, and you know, the thing about him is that you feel for the young man. He came out here this afternoon and he did not participate in shoot-around. They felt like he was going to be in the starting lineup tonight, but at this point, he's still on the bench. We'll see if things change. We have not been told otherwise, but I would not be surprised if we don't see him tonight.
Dan Skillings coming off the bench for Cincinnati, getting his first touch on the basketball, rejected by Edwards. Second and third efforts come up short for Cincinnati. Skillings, last 2 games, averaging 18 points per.
Well, there you see the presence of Edwards on the defensive end. They did not have that before he came back into the lineup. A rim protector and a rim resistor.
Five on the shot clock. Edwards inside to Slazinski, who muscles it up and in.
Well, a nice back cut, but a good find by Edwards from the top. He missed Slazinski at first, but on the second opportunity, gave him the big target, and the pass was on point.
Simas Lukosius missing the three. Slazinski with the rebound against Aziz Bandego and has some words for the big fella after he rips it down as the Mountaineers on a 6-0 run.
Well, Slazinski's a fiery player, a guy that is really starting to fit into and understand his role. That's not a good shot there, but he banged it in anyway.
Now has some words for Day Thomas.
He better relax out there, just keep his focus. But Slazinski is at times his shot selection has been questionable, but he looks like he's in a rhythm tonight.
Well, he was 4 for 6 from 3 in their last game against Oklahoma State. Continues it here as the Mountaineers on top 10-7. And it might be 11-7, we're not sure.
This is when West Virginia is at their best, when they have good spacing, they have good ball movement, player movement, and they look for the open man on ball reversal.
And it is, in fact, 10-7 with Slazinski, who came over from 2 years at Iona and Louisville, playing for Rick Pitino. And really, the game against Oklahoma State, it was a 4-point loss, but it was Slazinski's best game in conference play. 18 points on 7 of 12 shooting, as now we see a cook, coach, into the game for the first time.
Obviously a good sign. You know, when you don't participate in shoot around, you obviously have something going on, but he's had to deal with a lot this year. He's a terrific young guy and very valuable. Just as a good defender and gives them nice length on the baseline.
Seth Wilson into the game as well for West Virginia, as Kobe Johnson just kind of throws one up in the air and it finds the basket.
A little sky hook, Kobe.
It almost looked like a shot put.
West Virginia right now is doing a very good job defensively of bothering Cincinnati on the perimeter, harassing and denying passes.
10-0 run for the Mountaineers. Cincinnati already with 5 turnovers as Dan Skillings bricks the 3. Cook was in position, lost it off of his fingertips. Cincinnati basketball. Chisel James to Skillings underneath.
Now, Cincinnati will run. They're known as a half-court team, but when they have the opportunity, they have a lot of guys that can handle and finish at the rim.
Chisel James, the freshman, reserve point guard into the game. They've got a deep bench, do the Bearcats. Bearcats this season 31st in the nation in bench points per game at 28. Under 12 minutes to go here in half number 1. Cincinnati trailing by 3 as that lob would have been easy money. Instead, it was overthrown by Lukosius. Skillings misses another 3-pointer as the Bearcats now 1 for 4 from deep.
Well, they're not getting any open opportunities. West Virginia's doing a good job of getting up and contesting on the perimeter. And Cincinnati's moving the ball pretty well, but West Virginia's defense has been a little bit better. Well, Chisel James has an array of moves, but when he's moving at 100 miles an hour, he is very hard to defend. Nice pass to Skillings.
Earlier, Quinn Slazinski was getting a little chirpy with the Bearcats, and right before we went to commercial break, you see him turn and start talking to Victor Larkin there at the bottom of your screen, and he gets a technical foul as referee Jeff Hartness comes over, and his assessment of the situation when he went over to talk to head coach Josh Eilert was, listen, I've warned him twice, and that's why I teed him up.
Yeah, actually, you know, he knows better. You know, you get the warning, you get a break, you got a big-time crew here tonight. They're not going to put up with that ridiculous nonsense. Play basketball, grow up. You're a fifth-year player. You know better.
Jeff Hartness, Burt Smith, Roger Ayers are referees. West Virginia's an 8-2 run. As you see, Simas Lukosius, the technical foul, free throws. Slazinski's been fantastic. 6 points, 3 of 4 shooting to go along with those 3 rebounds. But you mentioned the offensive struggles for Cincinnati, very similar to their most recent game, a win against UCF at home, where they struggled in the first half, but then outscored the Knights 41-18 in the second half of that victory.
Well, they got off, came out of the gates very, very strong, and then they just stalled in the second part of the first half. And you know, they've been going through some illnesses throughout the whole team. They hardly practiced leading up to that game, but it's a good win against a very good UCF team to scratch and claw and find a way to get a W.
And you mentioned that illness going around the team. Victor Locken did not play in that game. Noah Farrakhan into the game for West Virginia. He's in the corner with the basketball. Pull-up three for Farrakhan, not there. Josh Reed entered for Cincinnati and gets the rebound. Cincinnati just 1 of 4 from three-point range. Victor Locken trying to change that. Can't do it. 1 of 5. And West Virginia basketball.
Well, West Virginia better clean up that high pick and pop at the top. Sozinski never got back to Locken to contest. Left him wide open. He will bang that shot in.
You see Cincinnati, who continues to miss C.J. Frederick, the transfer from Kentucky, a 44% three-point shooter, has been out the last 8 games with a hamstring injury. They've struggled to find consistency from 3 as Noah Farrakhan, who's been just shooting 26% from 3 over his last 3 games, knocks that one down.
Good job going inside and then back out to the open Farrakhan as Cincinnati helped on the drive. Did not get out to Farrakhan.
I should say Farrakhan shooting just 26% from the field the last 3 games, not just from three-point range. Mountaineers shooting 47% from the floor. Cincinnati 31%. 4 on the shot clock for Reed, a defensive specialist. Doesn't shoot a whole lot. Might have clipped the rim, and no, we're going to get a stoppage from the referee. I didn't think it clipped the rim, Coach, but the shot clock reset. And now the referees are going to say it's a manual shot clock violation, even though the shot clock in the arena reset to 20.
You're not going to fool these guys tonight. Roger Ayers, Jeb Hartness, Bert Smith, an excellent crew. That did not hit the rim. Well, Sumnick not back in the game now. He's at the 5. He will play a little 4 along with Edwards, but Josh Eilert has a lot of versatility now up front with the return of Edwards.
Farrakhan inside. Oh! Coming over on the help side was Jameel Reynolds to swat Patrick Sumnick. Jizzle James the other way.
Well, Cincinnati has a lot of bigs as well. Guama came in, gave good minutes against UCF when Reynolds was struggling, but you see Reynolds has that big body around the rim.
Farrakhan takes it himself this time. Nice floater in the lane for Noah Farrakhan, who's got 5.
He can get where he wants to go to off the bounce. Just sometimes with him, it is shot selection, but that was a good move in the lane with body control.
Zone defense from West Virginia, and that's the 3rd bad miss from 3 for Dan Skillings, who's off to a slow start.
Well, Skillings is hot and cold, and we talked about it. He and Newman led him to the victory over the weekend, and without the presence of Locken, they stepped up big. But right now, Skillings seems to be settling a little bit on the perimeter.
4-point advantage as Newman guards Creasa. 5 to shoot. And Harris got bumped by Skillings and a foul called.
Well, coming in, Jameel Reynolds is known as an offensive player, but just protecting the rim, and Jizzle James, good spacing on the perimeter, just a little one-on-one move in the middle of the floor.
Jizzle James will take a seat. Day Thomas back in. A young backcourt for Cincinnati. James, a true freshman. Day Thomas, his first year at the Division I level after playing 2 years at Kilgore College, a junior college. Here's Raekwon Battle, a deep 3. Mountaineers 1 for 4 from the 3-point arc. Skillings drives and a whistle. That'll be on Raekwon Battle, his 2nd foul. It's the team foul number 3 on West Virginia.
It's a good sign for West Virginia, though. Battle really hasn't got going yet. He can score in a flurry, but we've had better balance tonight with Edwards and Slazinski and the ability of Farrakhan. Kreese has played very well over the last few games as well.
Kreese is still looking for his first bucket. Skillings goes inside this time after missing 3 3-pointers and gets the field goal.
Now that's a better move by Skillings. They're going to get up and pressure him. They know he's a good shooter, so you've got to take advantage of that. Take your man off the bounce.
Shooting 50% his last 2 games. Kobe Johnson over the double team. Reynolds pulls it down under 8 minutes to go. The Bearcats trailing by 2. Eric Rothman, Tim Welsh here with you in West Virginia. Bearcats looking for back-to-back wins in conference play. As Day Thomas off balance, awkward drive. And the ball goes out of bounds. It will take us to a timeout. West Virginia hanging on to a 2-point lead. First half here in Morgantown. Prizes here, maybe for me, it's Iowa State and what they've done this year, the upset over Kansas last week, but this is kind of what we expected going into this year. We knew how strong this conference was going to be.
Yeah, again, that's the thing. Texas Tech has been a surprise. They kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start, and then they've been impressive. And then last night, TCU took care of business, and they're definitely a team that's not afraid to go on the road and win as well. Oklahoma has proven that they can play with anybody, but really the most consistent team has been Houston from start to finish, and that game on Saturday at Allen Fieldhouse looms large.
It is Josh Eilert. You talk about upsets. His West Virginia Mountaineers knocking off Kansas a couple weeks ago here in Morgantown. Day Thomas out of the timeout. Bandago the offensive rebound. Big fellow transferred over from Utah Valley. Bobbled it after it was knocked loose by Edwards, and he ties it up.
Good job by Bandago. Edwards was in the neighborhood, but he went for the pump fake and gave Bandago an angle to the rim.
Cincinnati just 1 of 7 from 3-point range. Now they've changed their tune a little bit, getting the ball inside, points in the paint their last 2 possessions. Edwards leaning in, was trying to draw a whistle, and he does. He was almost parallel with the floor.
You look at Bandago, watch, he has the inside position. No one puts a body on him, and then Edwards kind of does body up. He just puts his forearm. He doesn't get his hands up, though. He tries to reach in. He's got to go get his hands up in the air and make Bandago shoot right over the top. Instead, he reaches in.
And you can tell with the way Edwards is playing defense, and I'm sure we're going to see it here as he's shooting free throws, is that wrist still isn't right. It seems like he's compensating, trying to keep that wrist out of harm's way.
Well, there's no doubt about it. He wanted to come back, and he's cleared medically, but there's a lot that goes with it. Number one, his own personal conditioning, his timing, the ability to not think about that risk, and obviously, like you said, the free throws.
Missed both of them there. He was out since December 16th, came back last game against Oklahoma State, only played 15 minutes in that one. There's no restriction on his minutes, but like you mentioned, Coach, you got to work your way back into it. Conditioning is a big part of it. Lukosius backing in on Wilson. Batted around, and Edwards has the rebound. Bandago giving Edwards all he can ask for. The second effort is there for the big fella. 19-17, a 2-point advantage for West Virginia.
Well, Bandago did a really good job defensively. Now Lukosius wide open at the rim.
Fans thought it was a clean block. Instead, it'll be Lukosius going to the free throw line.
Well, Bandago does a really good job on Edwards, makes him shoot right over the top, but then no one comes in to support as he gets pushed under the net. That's where his forwards and guards have to slide in and help him on the backboards.
Coach, this is kind of, you and I have called quite a few Cincinnati games this year. This is what Cincinnati seems to do in the first half of basketball games. It's not always pretty. They kind of plod along, but they always seem to be right there. And then all of a sudden, things change in the second half, much like it did against UCF, where they outscored them 41-18 in the second half.
Well, most good coaches do what Wes Miller does, and I've been very impressed with him in the Big 12 this year, is in-game adjustments. You know, you set a game plan coming in according to the scout, according to film you've watched, according to how you're playing. But then when things change during the game, Wes doesn't always stick to his plan. He makes in-game adjustments, and you're seeing that tonight. Instead of just trying to shoot the three early, which they were not successful with, now they're starting to pound the ball into the paint.
4 team fouls on West Virginia, 2 on Cincinnati. Here's Kerr, Kriisa, scoreless in this one so far. Even with that hurt wrist, everything runs through Edwards when he's on the floor. Here's Kriisa.
That's a great battle inside with Fandango and Edwards. They are going at it at the rim.
Day Thomas a straightaway 3, and the three-pointer's just not falling for Cincinnati here in this half. Newman gets a gift, just trickles right out to him at the free throw line.
Perseverance, stay with the play. That's what Cincinnati does, and they find a way to scratch and claw.
Cincinnati 1 for 8 from 3. West Virginia no better, 1 for 5. Kriisa stripped, turnover. Now it's Day Thomas against Edwards, and a foul called on Edwards.
Well, this is what John Newman does. He just hangs around. He sticks his nose into plays, and Kriisa and Slazinski just kind of both fumbled it between each other. No one secured the rebound, and Newman took advantage.
First foul on Jesse Edwards, and I've just been so impressed, Coach, with John Newman. You know, going into every single game, he's a defensive threat, right? He's going to lock down the best perimeter player on the opposing team. But what he's done offensively in conference play, I think, has really made him stand out as one of the best two-way players in the country.
Well, he's experienced. We all know that. He's experienced. He's hard-nosed. He's blazed to win. And Wes Miller just trusts him out there on the floor. He can guard multiple positions, and he's not going to force the issue on the offensive end. He's going to take what the defense gives you, and you know, when they need him to go get buckets like they did against UCF, he delivers. 16
points per over his last 4 games. 6th year in college. Played 3 years at Clemson. It's his 3rd year at Cincinnati. Was out last year with an injury. Odi Oguama into the game for UC for the first time. Day Thomas locking up Kirk Kriisa, and he gets the steal. Up ahead to Josh Reed for the lay-in.
Well, that's been an issue with Kriisa over the course of this season. His decision-making, dribbling into traffic. That's 2 turnovers now in the last few possessions. He's got to just take what the defense gives him. He's trying to force the issue a little bit on the perimeter, dribbling into traffic, turning it over.
There's Jesse Edwards against Victor Locken, and Locken called for the foul.
Well, the Cincinnati defense, you can't try to cross over in front of Day Thomas. Put the ball right in his chest. He'll take advantage of that, and then off to the races. That's what Cincinnati does best.
6-0 run for the Bearcats. Day Thomas has proven himself on the defensive end as the season has gone on. And again, mentioned him and Jizzle James, the combination, but Wes Miller telling us, you know, essentially I've got 2 rookies, right? I've got Jizzle James, who's a true freshman, and I've got Day Thomas, who, despite playing 2 years of college ball, is at the JUCO level. So it's a learning process, and they've both really improved game in and game out as the year has gone on.
Well, Edwards' form looks pretty good on the follow-through. He's just not getting any legs in. He's hitting front rim. That looks pretty good. That's back iron. You know, it's a matter of timing. You know, you can shoot as many free throws as you want, but you shoot them when you're winded a little bit, it's a lot different.
Under 4 minutes to go here in the opening half. Lukosius to Oguama.
Well, the initial help was there by West Virginia on the baseline drive, but nobody rotated down on the backside. That left Oguama wide open.
He had a couple big buckets in that come-from-behind win against UCF as Victor Locken denying Jesse Edwards. Ball goes out of bounds and will send us to a break. Cincinnati starting to click offensively as they're on top 25-19 on the road in Morgantown.
Well, when you think of Cincinnati, you think of the rebounding, you think of the size, you think of good half-court execution, but they can get after you on the perimeter as well, create turnovers, and if they do, they will and they want to run and they can run. They're successful at it because they have a lot of guys that can handle the ball. They're very long. They get out in the passing lanes. They look for deflections, and they're very good at sharing it in transition.
Aziz Bandaogo, one of the best rim protectors in the conference. And that defense for Cincinnati has led to a 6-point lead here on the road. And you just look at the numbers, Coach, for the West Virginia offense. Raekwon Battle, Kerr Kriisa have combined to go just 1 for 5 from the floor for 2 points. Those two average a combined 27 points per game coming into this one.
Well, Battle's been on the bench for a while now with the 2 fouls. And Josh Heiler, that's his philosophy. You get 2 and you're out for the half. But going to try to go through Edwards. He's been very physical at the rim.
Nearly a shot clock violation there.
He's just a little off with his timing. He's making good moves with his footwork and his ability to catch in traffic, but he's just having some problems with Bandaogo being one of them.
And Bandaogo might have got poked in the eye. The ball back to West Virginia, under 3 minutes to go. Cincinnati an 8-0 run. It's been over 3 minutes since the last West Virginia point. Slazinski back after his technical foul. Wilson at the free throw line. Cincinnati +5 rebounding so far in this one.
Josh Heiler coming back with Noah Farrakhan, and they need him. They need somebody to break this defense down. Kriisa's had a lot of problems against the feisty Day Thomas.
Five on the shot clock for Day. 3.5 minutes without a bucket for West Virginia, nearing the 2-minute mark here in the opening half.
Well, these teams haven't played since they were both in the Big East, but this reminds me of when they used to play in the Big East, just a street fight, not much offense.
They'll play twice this year. The final regular season game of the year will be in Cincinnati between these two. Edwards with 3 on the shot clock, and he'll go to the free throw line off the broken play. Bandaogo called for the foul.
Well, Cincy defense, you better be strong with the basketball. If you put it out in front of the defender, expect them to try to swipe it away. They're strong, they're long, and they're tough physically and mentally on the defensive end.
Second foul on Aziz Bandaogo. Edwards back to the free throw line where he has struggled with that wrist. 0 for 4 so far. Josh Eilert finally a full roster. But despite that, despite Edwards coming back, Battles struggle with the fouls. Kriisa hasn't found a rhythm. 0 points for the Mountaineers the last 4.5 minutes. Edwards found it that time. What do you say, Coach? First to 50 wins this one?
Well, West Virginia, if they get Battle going in the second half, they can score some points in bunches, but that's a good sign for Cincinnati because Reynolds has struggled in the past few games, but he looked pretty smooth on that move down low. But Edwards has got to help on defensively as they go inside to him again.
And Edwards unable to corral the alley-oop. Minute to go here in the half. Skilling's 2 of 7 from the floor with 4 points here in the half. Make it 2 of 8. Tough angle. Now Reynolds for 3. Cincinnati just 1 for 9 from 3-point range. Struggled to shoot threes in Big 12 play, just 28% as a team in conference games. It's a timeout with 36 seconds to go.
Not sure Wes Miller has that in his playbook. And drive and kick back out to Jameel Reynolds on the three-point line, but
Jesse Edwards, 6 points, 4 rebounds, still nursing that right hand and wrist injury, but we knew him and Bandego would both be a presence down low, and they've gone at it.
Well, you can see his timing's off a little bit, but he has made a lot of good plays so far tonight for West Virginia. I've been very impressed. I didn't expect him to play this good. I mean, he's very aggressive. He wants the ball. He's hungry. He's posting up. He's trying to be very physical at the rim on both ends.
And West Virginia continues to get him touches on the offensive end. Really, when he went out with that wrist injury in the middle of December, Coach Eilers said I had to basically throw out my whole game plan for the entire season because the offense coming into the year was predicated on Edwards. Everything was going to run through him.
Yeah, it's like you're losing your point guard. Your point guard and your real good big man, they're irreplaceable. And done a good job of holding on the fort with the 2 wins over Texas and Kansas, but the last 11 games, I think West Virginia is going to be improving by the game.
A cook off the feed from Kerr Kriisa.
Well, they've run that middle ball screen pretty successfully, and for Cincinnati to make some adjustments in the second half, how they play that with their switches and their rotations on the backside.
Under 10 seconds to go in the half. Cincinnati up by 4, and a foul on Kriisa. It's the 6th team foul on West Virginia.
That's a nice play here. They have both sides of the floor cleared. It's emptied out, so the middle, it's like 2-on-2 in the driveway. If no one rotates over, that's pretty good offensive execution by Kriisa and a Cook.
3rd assist for Kriisa in this one. He averages 5 a game. 6 seconds even as Victor Locken comes back in for the Bearcats.
Well, West Virginia had the foul to give, so they gave it on the perimeter, but now they cannot foul driving to the rim, and look for Cincinnati to go to the rim or take a 3.
Not a great look for Victor Locken as Cincinnati finishes 1 for 10 from 3-point range in the half. But despite that, it's a 27-23 lead for the Bearcats as the teams head to the locker room. Cincinnati looking for back-to-back conference victories. West Virginia looking to snap a 2-game losing streak as Cincinnati dominating the glass, and Aziz Bandego and company have a 4-point advantage. We'll be back for more from West Virginia in a moment. 4-point lead for Cincinnati at the half. It's the first time the Bearcats have led at the half in any Big 12 conference game this season. They're up 27-23. We welcome you back to the WVU Coliseum. That's Coach Welsh. I'm Eric Rothman. And Coach, this is a Cincinnati special, right? Defense first, not a ton of points scored. They're on top despite not shooting the ball very well.
Well, it's an old Big East game for a lot of reasons, and both teams are kind of punching each other in the gut. And I don't think it's bad offense. It's really aggressive defense on both ends and getting Jesse Edwards for West Virginia back into the flow.
It's a grind it out kind of game. Let's take a look at some highlights from the first half.
Well, Jesse Edwards, to me, more impressive than I expected. Just very aggressive. They're doing a nice job spacing the floor, giving him some room to roam around the basket. He's going against a good defense around the rim, and Bandego really pressuring him hard. But out of the transition, though, Slazinski's doing a good job up on the glass as well. But they got to get Raekwon Battle back into the flow. He averages 16 a game. He only has 2. They've got to get him back and have a threat from the outside. But Cincinnati's defense has been special. It's pressure on the perimeter. Good ball pressure, denial, hands up, looking for deflections, getting long, and then getting easy runouts the other way. West Virginia has to be more careful with what they're doing offensively. They can't throw loose passes because Cincinnati will eat those up, spit it out, and make you pay. And they've done that at times. Even though the score's low, both teams have had good moments in this half. I expect both teams to be a little bit better offensively in the second half.
Good physical game. Neither team shooting well from three. Cincinnati 1 for 10. West Virginia 1 for 5. And you see there, West Virginia only had 4 points over the last 6 minutes of the half. Slazinski, who started out hot, then got the technical foul, spent some time on the bench. He came back into the game, but really wasn't very effective. We've seen Edwards be effective in spurts, but again, we've talked about it. Still nursing the injured wrist, still trying to get back into game shape. And West Virginia just hasn't been able to string offense together, and it's their lowest scoring first half of the season.
Yeah, Cincinnati came out aggressively, and West Virginia has to be aware, though. Cincinnati will make some of those threes from the outside. They did a good job of getting up in their face and not giving them second chance opportunities, but then Cincinnati started to go inside, and the turnovers are an issue for West Virginia. They've got to get Kriisa a little bit more involved in this game, get Farrakhan getting into the gaps, and that will open up stuff for Battle on the wing.
Kriisa and Battle combined for just 2 points in that first half for Cincinnati. They were able to get 5 points out of John Newman. He was their leading scorer, but no points for Victor Locken. Raekwon Battle, you mentioned it, Coach, 16 points per game, only 2 so far in this one. We'll see if we get some offense here in the second half. One of 2 meetings this year between these two teams. Cincinnati's debut season in the Big 12. And it'll be Bearcat basketball to start half number 2.
Well, we talked about the adjustment for Jesse Edwards just getting into the flow of the game, but it's also an adjustment for his teammates, mainly Raekwon Battle, understanding that you have a big man. We're going to throw him the ball down low, but also keeping him involved in the offense.
Newman, the leading scorer for Cincinnati in that half, just 5 points, kicks it out to Day Thomas, just the second three-pointer of the game for Cincinnati.
There's Raekwon Battle on the weak side, just got caught ball watching and never got back out to Thomas or made an effort to contest on the perimeter.
Largest lead of the game for the Bearcats. Thomas now has 6 for Cincinnati. Edwards sneaks that one in.
Oh, that's why he's so good. He's great footwork. He catches everything around the rim and just takes his time to finish it.
Cincinnati just really hasn't been able to get Victor Locken involved offensively. He's calling for it here. Travel.
Well, Jesse, what he does is he carves up deep post space down low, and if you give him that post space, even if you're as big and strong as the Bandango is, makes it easy because he just drives you right under the rim. He's got to look to push him out a little bit farther with a denial on the box.
8 points on 3 of 9 shooting for Edwards. He's got 2 times as many field goals attempts as his nearest teammate. Here's Kirk Kriisa in the corner. Kriisa's first bucket of the game.
And that was good defense by Day Thomas. He just shot it right up in Day Thomas's face, and that's what West Virginia needs. They need Kriisa to get going along with Battle and Farrakhan.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Day Thomas looking for his second 3 of the half. Bandango on the offensive glass. Lukosius will give it a try. Newman knocks it out to Lukosius, and a reset for the Bearcats. Day carried.
Well, Kirk Kriisa's been playing better as of late for West Virginia. He hasn't done much tonight, but just a little crossover step back and a flat-footed contest by Thomas.
That was his first bucket of the game. He had 21 points in the loss to Oklahoma State. You see, averaging 15 points per over his last 3. Cincinnati commits their 8th turnover to give the ball back to the Mountaineers. Kobe Johnson, and there's Edwards to clean it up.
That's what happens when you dribble drive into the gaps. Get it up on the rim. If the big man Bandango rotates over to shot block, someone's got to rotate from the backside to block out Edwards, and that's why he's so special for West Virginia.
7-0 run for West Virginia. Bandango blocked by Edwards. Bandango wanted a whistle desperately, didn't get one.
And Wes Miller wanted one as well.
Battle disrupted by Locken and a late whistle. And Raekwon Battle is going to shoot 3 free throws.
Well, Jesse Edwards making his presence felt on both ends of the floor, and here just a little pick and roll. You see Bandango stays with the dribbler. No one rotates back. Lockins watching the play, and this is a heck of a block from the backside. Wes Miller wanted a foul, and looked like Edwards got him with the body, but Roger Ayers couldn't see that from his angle. He was on the baseline side. Needed some help from the outside to make that call.
Pair of fouls on Victor Lockett. Raekwon Battle, who sat a good portion of that first half with 2 fouls, gets to the free throw line. Maybe we'll get him going offensively. Battle spent a couple years at Washington before transferring to Montana State, and then came over as a 2-time transfer to West Virginia. Sat out until December 20th because, as we all know, 2-time transfers weren't going to be allowed to play this year until the court ruling allowed Battle and others, including guys like Aziz Bandago, to play for their respective teams. Bandago had actually already been given a waiver a couple weeks before that court ruling, as Newman will go to the free throw line for Cincinnati.
Well, there's John Newman's experience front and center. Just see him needing a bucket, just makes a play, going with his right hand, but finding an angle to get to the rim and get fouled.
5 points, 3 rebounds for John Newman. Completed his master's degree in May. One of 6 players in the country with a master's degree. 6 years in college. He stays a couple more. He get a doctorate as well.
Why not? Can't take that away from you.
Yeah, Dr. Newman's got a nice ring to it. Free throws tie it up at 32, 3 minutes into the second half. Tend to shoot for Raekwon Battle. Harassed by Newman, nowhere to go.
Well, that's a nice way of putting it. Newman is right in his face.
3 to shoot. Oh, and Battle gets bailed out as Newman fouled him.
Well, we've seen Battle do that on many occasions throughout the season, because he takes that step back 3, but his body doesn't go straight up in the air. He kind of leans back, so his lower part of his body is in that area where the defender, if you don't close out under control, you really got to close out. You can't close out straight up on him when he shoots that 3. You got to go. You have to go for his right hand and try to wave at him a little bit, or maybe just let him have it, because he does a great job of drawing fouls from that spot.
West Virginia 5 of 10 from the free throw line, make it 6 of 11. Second time in this half that Battle has been fouled beyond the 3-point line. Newman picked up his first.
You don't have to run at him that hard, and Newman has to make that adjustment. He's only a 26% three-point shooter. There's no reason to come at him like the house is on fire. Just under control on the perimeter against Battle.
Newman got a little aggressive. He goes inside to Bandago now on the offensive end. Bandago with 5 to shoot, nowhere to go. Now Newman a long 3.
Well, excellent defense on that possession by the Mountaineers. They kept the ball on one side of the floor, wouldn't let Bandago find any room on the inside.
Slazinski inside, and another foul against Cincinnati. 3rd foul of the half on the Bearcats. More free throws upcoming for West Virginia when we return. Virginia on top by 3 here at home. 15:54 to go in regulation. And Coach, I don't want to alarm you, but there's a man with a musket behind you. You've got an armed guard ready to go.
All I know is that when we came into this building and were on the sidelines, I never got used to the musket.
Yeah.
it always gave me a little jolt in my chest.
I was trying to think of how many mascots around the country are armed. I know we've got the Mountaineer here. We've got the USC Trojan who carries a sword around. But our friend behind us, my question is, did he come to school looking like that, or was that once he got the job?
I don't know. Where did he get that heart? Is that the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift heart thing he's rocking back there? I don't know.
I got to tell you, you got him, the mascot. There's a couple guys on the cheer squad that are bigger and more mountainlier than he is with the mullets going on.
I believe we were here a year ago when he was named to be the next mascot. And there was a big ceremony and pregame, I believe, last year at West Virginia, Kansas State at the end of the year. And well, the good news is that the offenses have loosened up a little bit here in the second half, and West Virginia seems to have a good rhythm. If Cincinnati can break the ice here, just ball movement, find Newman, let Newman do his thing, or Skillings.
Skillings gets inside. That ends a 3-minute and 45-second drought for the Cincinnati offense. Pulls them within 3. Edwards leading scorer in the game with 10. Kirk Kriisa lobbing it to Edwards. A nice pick and roll.
Well, they've attacked that middle of the court all night long, and Edwards is finally getting his rhythm back and just freeing up. Someone's got to put a body on him down low.
Oh, a generous roll for Dan Skillings off the top of the backboard.
Might be what Cincinnati needed, just a little bounce, a favorable bounce, and Skillings struggled from the outside, but he's a confident perimeter player.
1 for 4 now from 3 to pull the Bearcats within 2. Five to shoot. Kriisa throws his head back and draws a whistle.
Well, West Virginia has run this in a variance of different ways, but here you see Slazinski does a good job of back screening the roll defender, and which allowed Edwards to have a free rein to the rim.
First foul on Jameel Reynolds.
It's a nice set call from the bench from Josh Eilert.
Edwards takes a seat to a round of applause. Pat Sumnick checks into the game for West Virginia. Sumnick has been a hero in a couple of these Big 12 games this year, averaged 16 points per game in the 3 games against Texas, Houston, and Kansas, as Kirk Kriisa knocks down the triple.
Well, Kriisa's confidence has grown by the minute here in this game, especially in the second half. Making a shot in the corner, that nice pass, playing more under control, confident from the perimeter with his jumper after that pick by Slazinski.
Reynolds spins into the double team. Skillings left alone. Back-to-back triples for Dan Skillings Jr. He's got 12 points.
Well, that's what you can't do if you're a defender for West Virginia, is turn your head in when the ball's on the baseline. You're in no man's land. You must be able to get back to your defender.
Big block by Reynolds. Ball will stay with the Mountaineers.
Well, Kriisa on the outside, just a simple little pick and roll, and Day Thomas off balance, but watch Skillings here. Everybody turns in and they go back out. You must be in position to return to the offensive player to contest.
West Virginia 4 points shy of their first half total already. 19 points here in the opening 6.5 minutes of the second half. They had only 23 points in the entire first half, and they're shooting 5 for 7 here in this frame. Battle off the inbound, tough shot fading away.
That's his shot. That's a good call from the bench. This Battle's got to take his time on the baseline.
Skillings has gotten much more aggressive here in this second half, looking for his shot. The offensive rebound. Lukosius for 3, no. Newman another crack at it. Lukosius the loose ball and a finish.
Good job by Lukosius. And Newman, he turned to the outside to see if he could pitch it back out to an open 3. And that time Lukosius just found that lane on the backside. And again, John Newman doing the little things to help his team win.
Lukosius ties us up at 42. Offense is alive here in Morgantown. Good start for West Virginia here in this second half, Coach. 5 for 8 from the floor. What stood out to you?
Well, Kirk Kriisa comes into this game. He's been playing well as of late, but his first half was a little uneven. He had to get used to the defense of Day Thomas, but in the second half, he's made better decisions. He's run the team. He's looked for a shot when available, but also looked for Edwards on that middle pick and roll. He's done a good job of just staying in position outside here. He does a good job with the ball fake. He's very good changing directions, and then with that step back, creating some space at the top. And here, using that high screen, Thomas falls down. He takes advantage and takes his time. Sometimes he will rush the situation, but here in the second half, he's done a good job of keeping West Virginia organized while still being able to look for his own shot.
6 points for Kriisa in the half, as we are tied up at 42. Both teams 22 points in the paint, although the three-point shooting has also started to come along as well. Cincinnati now 4 of 17 from 3. West Virginia 3 of 7. And Kriisa has awoken offensively for West Virginia. Dan Skillings for Cincinnati.
Josh Eiler called that timeout, and Wes Miller called that timeout as well. Early timeouts on the road. West did in the first half, and Josh making sure his team is organized defensively. And I like these guys that call timeouts to stem the runs.
Loose ball kicked out of bounds by Jizzle James.
I know Farrakhan has struggled as well tonight. Just do too much. Not taking what the defense gives them. I mean, he's got to try to find his own angles and get into the paint, but we must understand that Cincinnati is long and very good defensively.
Farrakhan off the mark. Cincinnati has done a good job on the glass, as they normally do. Reynolds, Sumnick kind of stopped defending, was hoping to get an offensive foul called against Reynolds, and Reynolds took advantage.
Sumnick just reached in and tried to throw a little forearm into Reynolds. All you have to do is hold your ground on the inside. He just kind of got off balance as Reynolds pushed him. Now Reynolds talking some smack, and he's teed up.
Reynolds, look of confusion on his face. The second technical foul we've had in this game, one against Reynolds and the earlier one against Quinn Slazinski.
Now Jamil Reynolds is trying to argue the call with Jeb Harkness, but guess what? It's not going to change.
Not in the history of basketball have they retracted a technical foul for a player after arguing.
In the NBA, they rescind them after the review. They review them the next day, and they give the player the fine back. That's about it. Reynolds is coming down. Not sure what he did, or if he just slapped Sumnick, or it was a quick one though.
West Virginia has had 16 free throws in the game compared to Cincinnati's 8. Mountaineers 11 for 16. Cincinnati 6 for 8 as Slazinski fading away.
That's really hard to defend. You know, his size, that step back, he's got so much length that it's hard to contest it. He's got a soft touch from that mid-range area.
Cincinnati made 5 of their last 7. They go inside to Reynolds, who stays out there after the technical foul. Jizzle James had it in his hands and then poked loose by Kirk Kriisa. Ball will stay with Cincinnati, much to the dismay of the West Virginia faithful. As we're under 12 minutes to go in regulation, West Virginia on top by 2 here at home. Cincinnati basketball when we come back. It's the play right before the break that went out of bounds. The call on the floor is that it was last touched by West Virginia. What do you think, Coach? Well,
on the instant replay, slow motion, looks like that went on Day Thomas, but I don't know. You know, I don't usually ride the fence on these calls, but those calls are tough to make. You know, both guys' hands are Both guys' hands are involved in the play. Kirk Krisa's not happy with it, so he's probably saying it was out on time. And it probably was, but you know, as an official, when those plays come right up on top of you, sometimes it's better to be a little bit farther away from the play, maybe get some help from one of the outside officials, but you can't fault the official. That is a hard call in real time.
Out of the inbound, Skilling's blocked. If it was a better pass, he would have had an easy alley-oop. Instead, had to come down with it. Edwards came in for the rejection. And we did get some clarification during the timeout on the Jameel Reynolds technical. It was for talking and gesturing to the West Virginia bench as Newman finishes with the left hand.
Oh, it's just an amazing move by John Newman, because Jesse Edwards was right there, but he, instead of taking the shot on the right side of the basket where Edwards was looming, he reversed it, used the rim as a protector, and finished with the left.
Newman's got 9. Slazinski, leaner. Cincinnati tie ball game despite Victor Locken scoreless in this game. Their leading scorer on the season, Simas Lukosius, for 3.
Well, again, John Newman driving in, understanding the West Virginia at times tonight, has looked in and faded into the paint and leaving three-point shooters open on the perimeter.
Cincinnati now 5 for 18 from 3. Edwards corrals the pass and now has 14 points.
You can't gamble on him down low because that's automatic. And Cincinnati has been going through John Newman because they understand at times when he's been guarded either by Slazinski or Battle, those are West Virginia's 2 poor defenders.
Locken had a ton of time to think about that one and airballed it out of bounds.
Well, we talked about John Newman, just his experience, his toughness, his intelligence as a basketball player. Here, he takes Edwards all the way under the rim and just reverses, and then Locken gambles down low. You can't go for the steal there. You just have to hold your ground, make him face up from the wing. He's not going to be able to do much. If he catches it right there, what is he going to do? He's going to probably have to pass it back out.
Nearing the midway point of the second half, Eric Rothman, Tim Welsh with you in Morgantown, West Virginia. Cincinnati on top by 1, looking for back-to-back Big 12 conference wins after a win at home against UCF last week. West Virginia trying to snap a 2-game losing streak, 2 games on the road where they lost to Oklahoma State and UCF. Both teams a gauntlet coming up. Cincinnati will play on the road against Texas Tech before welcoming Houston and Iowa State to Fifth Third Arena, and then West Virginia plays BYU at Texas at TCU. It just never gets easier.
It never ends. You cannot start. We talk about ball watching. You can't schedule watch either. And again, Edwards making his presence felt around the rim.
6th block of the game for West Virginia. Whistle on the floor. It's on Simas Lukosius. It's his first personal. It's the 6th team foul on Cincinnati in the half. West Virginia only 1. In a game like this, you start giving West Virginia free throws. That helped the Mountaineers out.
Well, obviously they're built so differently tonight because of the presence of Edwards, and they're trying to go through him down low, and that time Lukosius just pushed him in the back. You have to hold your ground down there. He's not going to make any shots outside of 2 feet, so why you're pushing him 10 feet from the basket doesn't make any sense.
No look pass inside. Krisa finds Edwards.
Krisa again just making the right decision, and Edwards so good with his feet, keeping the ball up high, catches everything, the soft touch at the rim.
Day Thomas in the corner, rattles in the 3.
Well, Cincinnati has recognized that West Virginia is over-helping on the ball, and on the weak side, they're not in good position to get out and contest 3-point shooters.
Cincinnati 5 for 10 from 3 here in this second half. That ball saved. I think everybody was waiting for a whistle. Edwards saved it from going out of bounds. Thomas left alone. Back to back for Day Thomas.
I like this lineup that Wes Miller has in. We talked about it before in one of the previous games that James and Thomas together give Cincinnati so much. They're so quicker, faster in transition. They get it out. They have the ability to get into the gaps, penetrate. And here, Kirk Grease again going to his left, taking his time, being able to find the big guy at the rim before there's rotation. And then Day Thomas doesn't need much room. And then coming down the lane, his backcourt mate, Jizzle, to Day.
55-50. Day Thomas has back-to-back threes, and the Bearcats on top by 5. Well, probably the most famous coach for both of these programs, Bob Huggins, 1989 to 2005, the head coach for the Bearcats. Did a lot of yelling, a lot of pointing, and then put on the West Virginia pullover. 2007 to 2023. As Huggins in attendance here today, looking slimmer, looking healthy. Wes Miller going over and paying his respects to Huggy in the crowd as he watches on for a lot of these players he recruited, and of course not the way he wanted to end things here in West Virginia, but Josh Eilert trying to carry the baton after 16 years as an assistant for Coach Huggins.
I will say this, let's just hope he gets back in the game, because Bob Huggins, our game is so much better with him in it, and he's got a lot left to give back to this game, and I would be surprised if he's not back somewhere coaching next season.
In transition, Lukosius missing the 3. Bandego got the offensive rebound, but a foul on West Virginia. Cincinnati on the offensive glass. They are up to 13 offensive rebounds, Coach. They average 14 a game, 11th in the nation in that category.
Cincinnati's in a good rhythm right now, and West Virginia has to be concerned. They've got to D up better, especially on the perimeter. Their Skilling's open again.
Missed it that time. Cincinnati was just 1 for 10 from 3 in the first half. They made 6 already here in the second half. 7.5 minutes to go. And a foul away from the basketball. It's against Simas Lukosius.
Cincinnati foul number 41, Lukosius, second team foul number 7.
This is Ofri Nevea, the freshman from Israel.
Nevea hasn't played until recently in this game, but Josh Eilert put him in and did a good job on that possession, just moving without the ball, and that's what he does. He's a good cutter.
Missed the front end of the 1-and-1 is now West Virginia in the bonus. West Virginia as a team only has 2 fouls. So maybe can get a little bit more aggressive going to the basket, knowing that every time a foul is called on Cincinnati, they'll go back to the free throw line as Dan Skillings knocks down his 3rd triple of the game.
A little pick and pop in the middle of the floor, and Cook stayed too long with the ball and couldn't get back quick enough to contest Skillings at the top.
7th made 3-pointer of the half for the Bearcats, and it's their largest lead of the game at 8. Kobe Johnson missing. Both Day Thomas and Dan Skillings have really turned up the intensity offensively in the second half. Lukosius bodies his way inside.
That was good defense by Krisa. Just too much length by Lukosius, 6'8" to 6'3", just shot right over the top.
Slazinski will go to the free throw line.
Well, the pick and pop, Cincinnati's gone to this on a few occasions. Here you see Cook stays with the dribbler too long and takes the underneath route. This is kind of the half circle route instead of a direct route back to Skillings, too late to contest.
Quinn Slazinski at the free throw line for Mount Williams with 2 shots.
Slazinski, one of 2 Mountaineers in double figures. He's got 10. Edwards has 16. Cincinnati has 3 players in double figures. Lukosius just cracked it with 10 points. Skillings 15 and Dede Thomas with 12. But again, this foul situation for Cincinnati, for as well as they're shooting offensively, just giving 3 points, 3 opportunities for points to West Virginia. Now 18 fouls on the Bearcats to just 2 for West Virginia. Here's Dede. Just missed that one. A foul on the rebound. It's against West Virginia as somebody shoved Bandego in the back. And I believe it was on Raekwon Battle. Oh, excuse me, it's on Edwards.
You're not going to get away with that one down low. And a little frustration foul by Jesse Edwards.
His second. Under 6 minutes to go. Skillings swatted by Raekwon Battle.
This is what Battle can do. Uses athleticism at the rim, but they need his work down the other end. He's been quiet because Newman has harassed him all night long.
6 to shoot. Lukosius, no. Reset, good job by Bandego to keep it alive.
The West Virginia guards, they've got to get back involved with the play. They're trying to leak out. You've got to secure the rebound first.
Deep in the shot clock again. 5 to shoot for Newman. Throws it to nobody in particular. And it's a shot clock violation. The buzzer did not sound, but it'll be a turnover on the Bearcats.
Well, I imagine they'll go back to that middle pick and roll. That's worked successfully all night long. And maybe on reverse the ball, get a clear out for Battle. See if he can do anything against Newman. The only thing he's really done is got fouled twice on a 3-point shot. Other than that, he's been very quiet.
It's been over 4 minutes without a field goal for West Virginia, and that ends right there as Jesse Edwards is up to 18 points.
He's very difficult to block out because he's long, he's big, he's strong, but he's also very quick afoot and can get rebounds out of his area.
Newman slips and he traveled.
So watch Jesse Edwards. No one really puts a body on him here, but Newman tries, but he spins off Newman, and that's why he's so difficult to block out because if you put a body on him, he's not going to give up. He spins, uses his feet, length, and strength at the rim.
10 turnovers on both teams. The lob to Edwards. Oh, it somehow went in. Count it, and a foul.
Now, we've seen them use this play earlier in the game. It's just a set play called from the bench. They set a back screen. They never really got the screen, and Bandego's there. Bandego's good. Edwards was better.
And that's the 4th foul on Aziz Bandego. It's a big deal for the Cincinnati defense.
Bandego's played a very good game. You know, he and Edwards have battled all night long, and now Locken comes in to give him a much different look defensively. He's not coming in for Bandego.
No, it's surprising. 4.5 minutes to go. He's coming in for Lukosius.
Well, that's the luxury that Wes Miller has because he's got Reynolds and Oguama in his pocket if Bandego does get his 5th foul.
So Aziz will stay on the floor, at least for now. Cincinnati basketball. And immediately Lukosius checks back in. Locken goes right back to the bench. So a brief entrance for Locken as the fans here at the WVU Coliseum looking at the replay, not happy that the ball was awarded out of bounds to Cincinnati. Skillings for three. Up ahead, Kobe Johnson to Slazinski, the trail man. Rattles it in. Offensive foul on Atrocious. And it's an 8-0 run for West Virginia. The fans on their feet here in Morgantown as the Mountaineers are within 2.
Well, Jesse Edwards has found his way, he's found his rhythm. He's scored in a lot of different ways. No more difficult than that one. And Quinn Slazinski at 6'9" can stop and pop and put some pop back in his crowd. Well, defense has been outstanding in the last 4 minutes for West Virginia, and this is a great example. Kirk Kriisa just takes one in the chest, slides his feet, gets big, gets long, and he sells it, and not only gives his teammates some energy, but this building, and then sends a little frustration to the Cincinnati bench. Cincinnati has kind of stalled in the last few minutes, and it's because of West Virginia's ability just to get out, pressure on the perimeter, and not allow second chance opportunities.
3 turnovers in the last 2:42 for the Bearcats has led to that 8-0 run for West Virginia as they are within 2 here at home. Kirk Kriisa, Raekwon Battle led this team all season.
Well, Eric, you mentioned it earlier. West Virginia has been able to push up the pressure because Josh Eiler has told his team, listen, we only have 3 team fouls. We have to be more aggressive, especially on the perimeter. Don't overhelp. Don't get caught ball watching when they drive on the baseline or in the paint. Stay home on the shooters on the outside, then gang rebound on the inside. And offensively, they've done a good job of spacing the floor, not over-penetrating, not pushing the pace too hard, but waiting for Cincinnati to make a mistake and see if they can go inside to Edwards and create an opportunity for him at the rim.
Only 3 team fouls on West Virginia. Cincinnati has 10, so the Mountaineers in the double bonus. Right now they have the basketball, trailing by 2. Eric Rothman, Tim Welsh with you in Morgantown. 14-6 Cincinnati. 7-13 West Virginia. Everything has run through Jesse Edwards offensively for the Mountaineers, and it does again on that possession as he's now up over 20, and the game is tied.
Well, Cincinnati's really having some issues with that middle ball screen. They have to decide. I think they could flat switch on that at the beginning and just give a little support on Edwards when he does catch the ball down low.
22 for the West Virginia big man. Atrocious slips, and a whistle called against West Virginia. It's on Raekwon Battle, his 3rd.
Well, again, the middle pick and roll, one of the hardest things in basketball to defend, but I think right there, Cincinnati can switch because Atrocious, he's got size. He's got enough size to put this body up on Edwards, make him catch the ball in the middle of the lane.
Day Thomas short on the 3.
Let's see if they go back to the well. In the NBA, Eric, they keep going to a play until you prove you can stop it. I think they're going to run it again here.
10-0 run for the Mountaineers. Season high 22 for Edwards. Slazinski drives, Bandego the block.
Kind of a forced shot by Slazinski. He was not open.
Day lost it. Turnover number 12 on Cincinnati.
Kriisa doing a really good job defensively on Day Thomas. I mean, just holding his ground, using his length, created the turnover with the deflection.
Kriisa, quick trigger. Edwards the rebound. Puts it up and in. John Newman. And that is a big deal for Cincinnati. Not only in this game, as we come down to the wire here, 143, but for the remainder of their season. We hope that Newman is okay.
Yeah, as you said, Eric, he's just coming across. He's defending on the perimeter. They set a little screen.
Now watch the screen from Slazinski. And right there, you see the right elbow kind of catch the left oblique or left kidney of Skilling, or excuse me, of Newman, as he's coming across it, and he's still on the left side of your screen there, still holding on, and then after the rebound just drops to his knees.
But again, the effort just still took 3 steps in to try to make a play on the rebound.
It's the delayed reaction, and you get hit right in that spot. So Newman slowly walking to the locker room. Cincinnati basketball down by 2, but now without one of their best players. 1:40 to go. Cincinnati with the big lineup, both Locken and Bandego out there. That's a huge bucket from Simas Lukosius to give the Bearcats a 1-point lead.
Again, that size by Lukosius at 6'8". He was being defended by Kobe Johnson at 6'3" and had no problem getting that shot off.
8th three-pointer of the second half for Cincinnati. Raekwon Battle responds with a 3 of his own.
Oh, you know that Battle can score in bunches, and he's been quiet all night, but without Newman on him, he took advantage.
Under a minute to play. Cincinnati trails by 2, and they want a timeout.
Well, Simas Lukosius moves well without the ball. Wes Miller does a nice job of moving him around, and here he comes just off a little pin down screen, and a little confusion defensively, and Lukosius knocks it in. Now, Raekwon Battle has been just basically mugged all night long by John Newman, and that's putting it nicely. And with Newman out of the game with the injury, Battle said it's like taking a bodysuit off, because Newman has just been in his grill all night long, and without him in the game, Battle found some freedom.
Battle just 2 of 6 from the floor, 10 points total. Had been very quiet before that 3-pointer. Give West Virginia a 2-point lead. So if you're Cincinnati, coach, trailing by 2, you don't have Newman. You got the bigger lineup of Locken and Bandego out there. Where do you go from here?
Well, you let Day-Day Thomas run the team. And, you know, Skillings and Lukosius are both real good offensive players. Locken has struggled tonight. So you got to try to just move the ball from side to side and see if you can get West Virginia in some switches, or maybe over-helping, and then try to go inside and then back out for an open look.
And on the other side of things, West Virginia shooting 58% from the floor in the half. Jesse Edwards, 24 points.
Well, Jesse Edwards, kind of a slow start getting his feel back. First game that he started since the injury, and he has been very good on both ends of the floor. Not only his timing on defense, but offensively catching the ball in traffic. They're running that middle ball screen for him. Just his presence inside. Such a huge factor for West Virginia, a big difference. And this is what Josh Eiler has told people. We have 11 games left, and we're finally whole. So we're playing for something. We want to show people that this is a good basketball team, and tonight, especially in the second half, they have been.
How about the second half numbers for Jesse Edwards? 18 points, a perfect 9 for 9 from the floor. Cincinnati basketball down by 2, 47.7 to go here in regulation. Lukosius hit the big 3 a moment ago. He's double teamed here. 10 on the shot clock for Cincinnati. Victor Locken, scoreless in this game, comes up short. And West Virginia has it, and a foul.
Well, interesting that Cincinnati is playing the foul game. I mean, they had a 6-second differential and only down 2. You're gambling, you won't get a stop, but now they're going to put Krisa on the line where he's 80% on the season.
And that's the 5th foul on Aziz Bandaogo. So he has fouled out in this game. Wes Miller was furious. Wasn't sure if he thought that Battle stepped on the baseline or if he didn't like the foul call against Bandaogo, but either way.
Well, understanding when you're down, obviously you want to extend the game, but time and score, you got to look at it. And, you know, I thought Cincinnati at that point give their defense a little bit of a look and see, because West Virginia at times has shown that they will be impatient in the half court. Sure, in that possession, Krisa would have understood that they didn't need a shot, but West Virginia really didn't, Cincinnati didn't give their defense any chance to get a look or maybe even press and trap and see if they could get a steal. Instead, they put Krisa on the line.
Well, and then on the offensive possession for Cincinnati, Locken hasn't made a shot all game, and he comes out for a deep 3, not the look they needed.
It's clearly not what they wanted, and if I were them, I would have gone at Battle. Battle is not a good defensive player. Skillings has had a good second half. Instead, they fouled, and now they've got a chance to get back in this game.
Krisa misses. 3-point game. 3.5-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Cincinnati takes a timeout with 27.3 to go. Cincinnati and West Virginia both with 1 timeout remaining.
Well, what Cincinnati needs to do is just run their stuff. They don't have to panic. They've got plenty of time to get a 2 and then reset their defense. Understanding that West Virginia has got good ball handlers in the game, but they've got to just get a good shot. They've got to find the first good shot. Now, if they take a quick 3, then everybody's got to go to the glass and try to rebound the ball and kick it back out. Obviously, way too early for West Virginia to try to foul to prevent the 3-point shot, but just run your stuff. I would go through, I would try Day Thomas, see what he can do off the bounce. He's made very good decisions here in the second half. And then I'd look to go to whoever is Battle is guarding, try to go at him, because he is not a very good defender.
Cincinnati, coach, has attempted 30 3-pointers in this game. They made 1 in the first half. They have made 8 here in the second half. They trail by 3. West Virginia still has 2 fouls to give.
An important piece, too, is that West Virginia has the possession arrow. So if Cincinnati does score, they can't look to tie up the dribbler. They've got to just maybe slap the press on it. If they do score, they will probably call a timeout. They have 1 left. And that would give them a chance just to set up their defense and try to get 1 or 2 traps to give their defense a look, depending on how much time is left, of course. But if, say, they score in the next 12 seconds, then there's like 15 seconds left to go in the game. I would let your defense, give your defense a look, just to see 1, 2 traps. You're not going to use up that much time, maybe 5, 6 seconds, and then look to foul if your defense can't create a turnover, force a turnover.
Cincinnati brings in their small lineup. They go back to the 2-guard set with Day Thomas, Jizzle James.
Well, I like that a lot, because West Virginia at times tonight has overhelped on the dribble drives into the gap. This may actually open up an opportunity for a drive into the gap and then a kick back out for an open 3.
Skillings in the far corner finds Day Thomas for 3. Off the side of the backboard, and a foul against the Bearcats.
Well, that's a good set play. They've run that before. They skipped the ball over the top to Skillings, and then they've got Thomas coming off from the weak side, and they set a little flare screen for him coming over from the weak side, but he really wasn't open. That was a forced shot by Thomas.
And it'll be Jesse Edwards to the free throw line. He's 2 for 7 from the charity stripe. 24 points for Edwards on 11 of 17 shooting. And the wrist still giving him trouble. Anything outside of a couple of feet from the basket. Now 2 of 8 from the free throw line. You see the wrapping around that right wrist, excuse me. 4-point game. 25 and 10 for Jesse Edwards. Day Thomas to Skillings for three. Airballs it. Had an open look. And just two really bad shots in the last two possessions for Cincinnati.
Give West Virginia's defense a lot of credit. They were teetering at times, and here they set a good screen, but Skillings is not open, and just some quick shots. You're down two possessions anyway. When you're down two possessions against a defense that's playing you that tight to try to prevent the three, I think you just got to space the floor, especially with two quick guards in the game, and just go right to the rim, get your two, timeout, and then set up your defense.
West Virginia looking for their third conference victory of the season. Both of their previous victories against Texas and Kansas came here at the WVU Coliseum. The clock did not start on the inbound. And so the referees are going to have to figure that out.
Well, Greece is trying to give a foul. They've got two to give, but there's no reason to foul out in the middle of the floor. If a Cincinnati player has an angle to the rim, maybe, but you've got a 5-point lead now. You just got to play defense. Play defense, trust your defense. If they do in fact score, then you're gonna get the ball back anyway.
So they have adjusted the clock to 12.8. You see there, 14.8 was where the possession started.
See, if I'm Crease, there's no reason to pressure Day Thomas this far out, because he can go by you easily from out here.
10 seconds to go, and the foul by Creasa. Just the 15th foul on West Virginia.
And the one thing you have to be careful with, Eric, is you're fouling intentionally in this area. If all of a sudden Cincinnati goes into their shot motion as you're intentionally fouling him, could have an issue.
That one off the hands. Oh, I thought it was off of Lockett, and they're going to review it.
Well, that one was easy. That was definitely off Lockett.
Yeah. 9 seconds to go. It'll be West Virginia basketball. Yep, right there. And so
previous out-of-bounds play is under further review.
So, Coach, this is a, you talked about it, but now West Virginia, this will be their third conference win. We have seen what the talent of this team is. Cincinnati, good team. Texas, good team. Kansas, at the time, a top 5 team in the country. So the pieces are there for West Virginia. They have had only 4 players play in every game this year. Of those 4, only one of them is a top 5 scorer. Half of their team didn't start till midway through December. Jesse Edwards is coming back after a month out. And so now, can West Virginia
play has been overturned, West Virginia basketball,
go on a run here, like you mentioned, and kind of put proof to what Josh Eilert has been telling everybody all season?
Well, I think he's handled himself beautifully, 100%, from what he was thrown into here, and then everything else on top of it that's happened during and in the season. He's going to show that this team is a tough out moving forward. And I'd like tonight for them, from their end of the spectrum, is that, they've had to just win games. They've had to rely on Raekwon Battle going to get 20, but now they don't have to do that. And they've got a force in the middle, not only offensively, but defensively. And they'll learn and they'll get better, because now they know what they have inside, and they will look for him, which will open up other things, and everyone else will fill their role. And Josh Eilert, I've liked what he has said. Listen, we have a lot to play for. It's an 11-game season right now. We're starting afresh, and in his mind, they're going to be 1-0 after tonight.
And a good update for Cincinnati is John Newman has returned to the bench. He has got a gigantic ice pack wrapped around his side, but he is on the bench for the final seconds of this one. You see sitting next to Bandego, who fouled out. Still wincing in pain every time he moves, but hopefully okay and get back out on the floor soon. But nothing to take away from this win for West Virginia. Jesse Edwards.
Well, let's call it what it is, too. Not only for this team to prove that they're a good team, Eric.
As the final seconds roll off of this one, Edwards leads the way, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks, as West Virginia 3-0 at home in Big 12 play this year. 2 top 25 wins, and then now beating a very tough and scrappy Cincinnati team. And it's a 4-point advantage, and a 4-point win for West Virginia, 69-65.
Yeah, and what we were just about to say is that they played well together in the second half. They're growing as a team. There's the first game they really have been whole all year. But the other point that we need to make is that Josh Eilert has done a terrific job in a very difficult situation. And let's not forget, he's still the interim coach. So every night he's being looked at, and I think tonight was a great showing for him. Country
Roads playing at the WVU Coliseum. We appreciate you joining us. For Tim Welsh, I'm Eric Rothman. This has been the Big 12 Now on ESPN+.